Moving on to step number 21, we are going to install the little cover for this compartment, and that is part number AX3105-1, and very simply drops down and covers the hole. Can't really put it on wrong. It only goes in one direction. You do, however, want to make sure that this pops down inside and that there are no gaps along the cover. We're going to put the back screw in, which is a number 48, or AXA148, which is one of the longer of the two sizes that we're using here. Let's go ahead and screw this one in. They use some long screws in this kit. It takes a while to get them in. Alright. Next we're going to fit the front brace, the top brace on, which is AX31104-1. And you're going to see that there are a couple little areas here that have to poke down into these two recessions in the posts here. Everything's going to have to click into place, and we're just going to go ahead and set this. You see these 4 holes here, and that is for these 4 holes, and the rest of the other holes and everything will line up. I'm just kind of lay it on there. Use your fingers, kind of wiggle it around a little bit, and you need to get these to click down inside here. See if I can get a little better shot of that here. These need to get down inside there and to click down. Once those are clicked in, everything else should pretty much fall into place. You're going to want to make sure that everything is popped down and that there are no big gaps anywhere along where any of the parts meet up. Now, the tricky part here is using the right screws in the right places. So the 48, we're going to call it, which is the AXA148, is the longer screw. So we're just going to look at the directions here, and one of the longer screws, we're going to start over here. It's going to go in here. We'll screw that in. And let's take a look on the other side and see over here. It's going to be a 148 also on this side, which is one of the longer ones for this hole. Go ahead and put that one in. And it is important that you get the proper screw in the proper hole, believe it or not. Okay, let's check out the 2 middle ones here, since we're working in that direction. And it looks like those are also the 148s, so these are the 2 longer ones here. Let's go ahead and drop the screws down in. Snug them up. Starting to get hefty now. It's a pretty darn well built rig here. I'm impressed. I like the plastics that they used. Okay, let's take a look, and we're going to use 2 of the shorter ones on top of the servo saver holder bearings to hold the posts in here and capture the bearings. So the 2 outside holes are going to use smaller screws. Those are going into metal. You can choose to use Loctite on those if you want, but those are screwing into metal. Okay, now this is leaving us with 4 of the shorter screws, and those 4 shorter screws go into these holes here, all 4 of them, and I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. Once everything is all together, this is what it looks like. And again, since we trapped the bearings and stuff inside there and put some more parts on, we want to always double check and make sure that there's nothing binding up. It all looks good, but we went ahead and put this cover on and put this top brace on. And again, beware of what size screws you're using in which location. It is important. Alrighty, we are now done with step number 21. Just a little addendum here, something that I said when we first started is we were going to make mistakes as we went along, and we did. No matter how close I look or whatever, we ended up putting on the shock tower backwards. You see these areas here that protrude out? Those actually go forward rather than backwards, so we need to turn this whole unit around. To do that, I believe that we can just take off the 4 screws here and the 2 screws here for the tie rods, flip it around, and put it back together. I'm going to give it a shot and we'll be right back. Okay, well, we got our shock tower issue straightened out, and yes, it was on backwards. So now you can see the body posts are actually towards the rear of the vehicle, and the shock towers actually mount up this way with where the shocks are going to go. So you can take a look here. It was very, very simple. I'd like to thank the YouTube viewer. I'm not in front of my channel right now to see his name, but I want to thank our YouTube viewer for pointing that out. We took out these 4 screws here, took off the screws for the tie rods, flipped it around, put it back together. It took about 3 to 4 minutes. So now we're all looking good. Hopefully I haven't made any more mistakes, but if we did, we'll find out in due time, won't we? Okay, off to the next step.